It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Imagine being told your entire life that you don't matter, that your own parents wished you'd never been born. That's how it felt to be me for years, the forgotten child in a family obsessed with my sister, their golden girl. And what they did to me, it's a story I just had to tell. I'm 18 now and finally mercifully on my own. My sister is about 10 years younger and her arrival was messy. My mother's pregnancy with her was so brutal that it almost cost her life, and after that she couldn't have more children. My parents, consumed by that trauma, latched onto my sister with an intensity that warped everything. From that moment on, I wasn't their son. I was just the other kid in the house, useful only when they needed a free babysitter. Looking back, the level of favoritism they showed was so extreme, so sickening, I genuinely believe they were oblivious to the emotional damage they inflicted. But now, it's all rebounding on them and honestly, it's a reckoning they deserve. The pattern started early, a slow, agonizing erasure of my existence. On my 11th birthday, a day that should have been mine, my parents insisted my 2-year-old sister blow out my candles because she cried at the sight of a cake that wasn't hers. The humiliation burned. They relit them for me afterwards, but the moment was utterly, irretrievably ruined. And that wasn't a one-off. It became the norm. Every single year. Not only that, but my sister always got presents on my birthdays. When I dared to ask why I never received any on hers, their response was a casual, dismissive shrug. You're a boy, boys don't need to worry about it as much. Did they really think an 11-year-old couldn't see through that? My birthday celebrations consistently took place at venues she preferred, not me. Eventually, it felt like my sister got 2 birthdays a year and I got none. Their entire lives revolved around her. If I wanted to do something, my sister had to want to do it too, or it was vetoed. I learned to retreat, locking myself in my room with video games, finding solace in solitude. That lock became my sanctuary, my only defense against her constant intrusions. My parents actually tried to make me remove it, but I exploded, a furious teenager, tired of having my space invaded, especially after my sister had barged in more than once when I was naked. They tried to shame me for being naked in my own room. The sheer absurdity of it made them back down. My sister, as you might imagine, developed a monumental princess complex. She was demanding, spoiled, and treated me like her personal butler. She even had a stupid nickname for me, one that still makes my blood boil just hearing it. If I didn't give her everything she wanted, she'd throw a fit, cry to our parents, and then I'd be in trouble for mistreating her. Our arguments escalated, until my relationship with my parents devolved into barely any words at all. Then came my high school graduation. The audacity. They actually bragged to other parents that they were the reason I worked so hard. They weren't entirely wrong, but the reason they imagined was a universe away from the truth. I worked hard for one reason only, to escape them. I graduated with a C average, not exactly stellar, but it was my effort, my ticket out. And what did they do to celebrate? They took me to another place my sister enjoyed more than me. A bitter taste indeed. By the way, if you're still with me and finding this story unbelievable, make sure to hit subscribe. I promise more raw, honest accounts like this are coming. My 18th birthday in July, that's when everything truly exploded. I harbored a desperate hope that for once, we'd go to my favorite restaurant. Instead, it was the local knockoff Chuck E. Cheese, their default celebratory destination for everything, including my graduation. I was surrounded by kids half my age, bored, eating mediocre pizza, and playing dated arcade games for cheap prizes that brought me zero joy. Then came the cake. Big, white flowers. Sure, my name was on it, but it was so obviously not a cake for a boy, let alone an 18-year-old. And there were only 10 candles. My parents lit them, then set the cake right in front of my sister. That was it. That was the moment. 8 years of pent-up rage, neglect, and soul-crushing favoritism flashed before my eyes. I started to ugly cry. 18 years old, bawling in front of my entire family. Time seemed to freeze. I got up and everything I'd held inside for the past 8 years just spilled out. A torrent of raw, unfiltered anger. My entire family watched, stunned, as I laid bare every injustice. When the words finally ran out, I simply walked outside to sit by the car. A few relatives trailed out, muttering apologies, claiming they didn't know about the pink cake because my parents had kept it hidden. It doesn't matter. I yelled, the tears still streaming down my face. You all sat back and watched as my life was taken over by Little Miss Sunshine for 8 years. I had no real birthdays, no celebrations of my own. They were all about her. And then, on the biggest birthday of my life, you all expected me to just smile and nod while they handed my sister a cake that was entirely meant for her, when it wasn't even her birthday. Some offered more excuses, saying my parents told them I was okay with it. I was never okay with it. They forced it on me every year until I just pretended to accept it. I spread my arms, gesturing at the pathetic party venue. Does this look like where I wanted to celebrate my graduation and 18th birthday? No one ever tried to stick up for me. I'm just the other kid while she gets everything. I couldn't even invite my friends because my parents stopped letting me after they dared to voice opinions about her blowing out my candles. There are 365 days a year. Was it so bad to want one that was about me and not her? I collapsed back into ugly sobs. My father finally came outside, not to comfort me, but to yell, furious that I was making such a huge scene, and that my mother was crying and my sister was upset because I ruined her moment. They are bad parents. I screamed back. And you know exactly why. That's when the rest of the family descended on him like a pack of wolves. Better late than never, I suppose. I'd never seen anything like it. My father was backed up against the restaurant door, and then most of the crowd flooded back inside, determined to confront my mother too. My grandparents stayed with me, apologizing for having their eyes shut for so long. I don't know what was said inside, but about half an hour later my parents emerged looking utterly defeated. My mother was still sniffling and neither of them could meet my eyes. They awkwardly apologized, offering to redo the party. But the crowd wasn't satisfied. My uncle coughed loudly, and my parents quickly added they'd never make me let my sister blow out my candles again, or give her presents on my birthday, or make any part of it about her. Another pointed cough, and they apologized for the pink cake, weakly adding they thought I wasn't worried about cake anymore at my age. Oh boy, that was the wrong thing to say. I was furious all over again. My age is irrelevant. You literally gave my birthday to my sister for years with no good reason, and you know it. There's no point in redoing the party, it's too damn late. You clearly showed I mean nothing to you. You ruined 8 years of my life. What future birthdays with you could I possibly look forward to? My father started to get angry again, but the entire family yelled him into silence. My grandfather stepped forward, confirming I was exactly right. He said they could never undo the damage, that my parents were awful people, who played favorites and treated me like a black sheep. And even worse, he declared, everyone else was awful for letting it happen. He said I was owed far more than an apology, I was owed my life back. My mother broke down, trying to approach me, crying my name, but half the family body blocked her. I just couldn't take it anymore. I started to walk away. My aunt chased me down and brought me back. I could hear family members yelling and cussing at my parents, but I was too upset to feel any satisfaction. And my sister? She was still inside the restaurant, all by herself, eating my cake and ripping open presents that were meant for me. Yes, my parents had served her some cake after I'd cried and walked out. Unbelievable. My grandparents eventually got me to calm down in their minivan. My sister, meanwhile, threw a colossal tantrum after being caught opening my presents. One of them, a brand new smartphone, she hurled against the wall, shattering it because she wasn't allowed to keep it. She'd just gotten a new phone on her birthday a few months earlier. I was so upset, I ranted that I never wanted to celebrate my birthday again. My grandparents let me stay the night. When I eventually returned home, I still didn't speak to my parents. My mother just kept crying. My father was as silent as me. The following weekend, my grandparents convinced me to go to dinner. To my surprise, a whole new party was waiting for me. My parents were there, plastered with "Don't hate us" smiles. A big chocolate cake with 18 candles, a banner with my name, my happy belated birthday graduation party. I tried to pretend to be happy, but one good party couldn't undo 8 years of favoritism, let alone make a dent. My sister was there too, arms folded, lip curled, clearly miserable that it wasn't all about her. They sang an altered version of Happy Birthday called Happy Day. The moment I blew out the candles, my sister let out an ear-splitting scream. My parents rushed her out, returning later looking even more defeated. She pouted in her seat for the rest of the night. I did get a new smartphone. My sister, on the other hand, had hers taken away for her destructive behavior at the previous party. But the smartphone wasn't all. The entire family had chipped in and gotten me a car, an old white Volvo, but I loved it instantly. My grandfather, a car expert, had fixed it up himself. I was ecstatic. My sister? Not so much. She let out another scream, demanding a car too, throwing a massive tantrum. My mother had to take her to the bathroom and they didn't come back for a while. My father just looked utterly defeated again. My sister had effectively ruined their attempt to look good in front of the family. More family members laid into my parents, telling them point blank they had raised a spoiled princess brat. Days later, my sister took a hammer and vandalized my car, breaking 2 side windows and cracking the windshield. It was undrivable. My parents stopped her before she could do more, but she screamed bloody murder and tried to bite them. Everyone was furious, especially my grandparents, given all the work my grandfather had put into it. My sister, so utterly spoiled, couldn't mentally comprehend that I could have something she couldn't. The family truly let my parents have it, warning them they were setting her up for failure. Her actions didn't go unpunished. She was grounded for the rest of the summer and, come the new school year, sent to boarding school. My mother cried like a baby, but my father stood firm. It was the only way to start undoing the damage. Yes, they finally acknowledged they were at fault, which was hard to deny when literally no one sided with them. My sister is miserable at that school. She hates the clothes, the rules, and her constant attempts to lie and scheme are foiled by cameras everywhere. My parents tried to visit, but she just screamed at them for putting her there. From what I hear, this could be her life until she's 18. My parents paid to fix my car, and my grandfather even helped me find a job 40 miles away. I moved out in September. My parents still try to contact me, but I rarely speak to them. When we do, it's awkward, uncomfortable. My grandfather thinks they're trying to get me to forgive them so they can feel better. But I'm not ready. Maybe never. I'm finally happy, finally away. They've got nothing now. They don't have me. They barely have my sister. Boarding school isn't cheap, nor were my party and car repairs. They're working more hours in an empty house, surrounded by angry relatives. It sounds like pure misery, and while I don't take delight in it, it's the direct result of their own actions. The chaos wasn't confined to my sister. Sometime after she was sent away, my mother, trying to get her precious baby out of the mental ward, got into a huge fight with my father. She hit him with a bottle from the kitchen counter, cracking his cheekbone and cutting him badly. Police were called. My father went to the hospital, and my mother was carted away in the back of a police car. She was psyche-evaluated and committed for several months herself, forced to confront her fierce desires to enable my sister. It turns out it stems from serious childhood traumas she's never spoken about. There's still talk of divorce between them, but for now they just sleep in separate bedrooms. My 19th birthday wasn't long ago. My grandparents threw me a party at a restaurant I actually liked. My parents were there, and so was my sister, briefly allowed out of the ward. The bitterness in her eyes was palpable. She'd lost a fair bit of weight, and the junk food at the party was the first she'd had in a long time. But she still couldn't stand not being the center of attention. This time, when I blew out my candles, she didn't scream. Instead, she started ugly crying, a pure manipulative performance, just repeating "why" over and over. She's only 9, but she was already demanding her own car last year. Then she threw herself on the floor, tantruming that there was no pizza, no gifts for her, no prizes. She started cursing at our parents before trying to storm out, a twisted copy of my own dramatic exit a year prior. My parents apologized to everyone and took her home. Not before my grandfather again had some strong words with them. "You better not take her to a party elsewhere or give her what she wants, because this will never end if you don't stop for good." She was driven back to the ward the next morning, kicking and screaming, having heard everything. She's just a kid, but the most stubborn one I've ever seen. She won't change until she hits her absolute lowest point. And until then, she's stuck in a place where no one enables her demands. No one, not even my parents, has attempted to blame me for my sister's actions. They finally had to accept that I had zero fault in this, that they raised her to be a narcissist, and that enabling a narcissist is a form of addiction itself. My sister, it turns out, is incredibly smart, with an IQ around 110. She just never applied herself unless there was a reward. This entire mess is purely a product of her upbringing. As for me, I'm doing well on my own. It's been hard learning to budget, to manage my finances, to truly adult. But it's 1,000 times better than the life I was living with them. Coming back to Reddit and telling this story, though, has brought back a lot of stress. I thought I was fine, but now I'm edgy, cynical. My boss even sent me home early yesterday. I've thrown up from stress, had a pounding headache. It's a reminder that healing isn't linear. I've read so many similar stories now, seen how many parents only change through public humiliation, but deep down they're still the same. I'm going low contact with my parents, and I'm going to my grandparents to talk this through. I need a break from all of it. I'm finally learning what it means to live for myself. But it's a long, hard road, and some wounds just run so deep. Have you ever had to confront family dynamics that were so toxic they threatened to consume you? How did you find your way out? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd really appreciate hearing them.